Welcome to the Clinton School on this beautiful day, and another in a series of programs under the leadership of Nikolai DePippa, who does a great job. I think runs the best college speaker series in the country, and I want to thank our volunteers who help him pull off 100 programs every school year. With the exception of those of you who are tweeting, could you please silence your cell phones? If you want to tweet away, that's fine. To introduce our speaker today is Clinton School student Becky Twombly from Brainerd, Minnesota. A little colder today in Brainerd, Minnesota than it is in Little. She's a clinical pharmacist, and she's a certified tobacco treatment specialist. She's a graduate of North Dakota State University, and she's working with UAMS on her team-based Clinton School project to better recruit, enroll, and retain underrepresented minorities and disadvantaged students in health professions in Arkansas. So please welcome Becky Twombly.
Good afternoon. As I reflect on the many experiences afforded me while attending the Clinton School of Public Service, I think not only of academic reward, but of the relationships formed with a variety of thoughtful people from across the United States and around the world. This opportunity to learn the perspectives from those with different experiences from my own has been one that I will treasure most from my time at the Clinton School of Public Service. I've had the privilege of getting to know Dr. Sedef Akgüngör both personally and professionally while here at the school. Dr. Sedef, as we students fondly call her, has shared her research and economics expertise with our field research class and served as a mentor for students like myself who are considering Turkey for our international project experience. I have appreciated all of the opportunities to spend time with Dr. Sedef as I not only improved my understanding of the political situation in Syria or the close economic ties between Germany and Turkey, but also the many diverse and delicious culinary uses for lentils. Dr. Akgüngör comes to Arkansas as a Fulbright scholar from Izmir, Turkey, where she's a faculty member in the business school at 9 Eylül University. She obtained her doctoral degree in agricultural economics from Michigan State University, and it was there that a long history of collaboration began with the Fulbright program. She hosted her colleague from graduate school, Dr. Ellen Fitzpatrick, as a Fulbright scholar in 2003-2004. The partnership continues at the Clinton School, including co-teaching community economic development for the Clinton School and global economics at Philander Smith College. Over the past semester, Dr. Akgüngör has conducted seminars at various institutions, including State University of New York, Rockefeller School of Public Policy, Global Institute of Health and Human Rights, and at the Fulbright College in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Her primary research interests are the economics of food safety and regulation, regional and community development and innovation, and evolution of industry clusters. Collaborative research projects will take her to Africa and Southeast Asia in the spring. She serves as an economic expert for a variety of EU workshops and has conducted projects in Germany and in Belgium. Consultant positions include work for the Izmir Development Agency and the World Wildlife Foundation. We have been honored to have Dr. Akgüngör as the 2014-2015 Fulbright Scholar in Residence, and I'm pleased to introduce Dr. Sedef Akgüngör.
Thank you very much, Becky, for this lovely introduction. Also, thank you for all the guests for being here and sharing this time with me. I would like to thank, firstly, Fulbright Commission to give me the privilege to be a Fulbright Scholar in Residence in Clinton School. I also would like to extend my special thanks to the Clinton School family for having me, and particularly Dr. Rutherford for accepting me as a Fulbright Scholar in residence, allowing me to teach here, and also providing me a house to live. Yeah, it's a very, very comfortable, it was a very, very comfortable stay here. I also would like to thank my colleague and my longtime friend, Dr. Ellen Fitzpatrick, for being a wonderful colleague and host, making me feel like home. And we have, with her, established a long-time relationship about research, which will go on probably for the next 5 years. I also would like to thank my students here, who I have great enjoyment teaching them, knowing them, talking to them. And it was a wonderful experience for me to be here in Little Rock, in Clinton School, and hopefully I will be sharing with you some of my knowledge about my country. First of all, I would like to state that I am an economist. I am not a political scientist. So, however, in order to give you a broad opinion about my country, I have included lots of international relations. So forgive me if I make any mistakes or anything that's missing in my speech, because I would like to share with you what I know as a scholar. Okay, my speech is about Turkey, my country. And the title is A Crossroads Between the Two Continents. Why did I choose this topic? It's simple, because Turkey is literally a country of a crossroad between the two continents. One continent being Europe, the other continent being Asia. And with a historically beautiful city, Istanbul, dividing the two continents by Bosphorus, and the two bridges in Istanbul connect those two continents. Also, Marmara Sea, and Dardanelles separates the country's two lands, Anatolia and what we call Thrace. During the past century, the Turkish political geography has changed tremendously. For example, one of the prominent events in 1923, a new and secular democratic country has been established as a name, Republic of Turkey. The year 1923 ends the long history of Ottoman Empire, which had taken place for 600 years since 1299, and the dominance of Ottoman Empire was cleared, and the Turkish Republic was established. The founder of the Turkish Republic, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, is a historic hero with whom the Republic has gone through many reforms. He carried the country to the level of its Western counterparts. For example, one of the reforms that he had done was changing the clothing of the women and men, changing the script from Arabic script to Latin scripts, changing the numbers from Arabic numbers to Western standard numbers. Another important thing which makes me very proud is to give the women right to vote and to be elected back in the 1930s. So why do I call Turkey a crossroads? One reason, as told you, is its geographical location. It looks practically like a bridge between the two continents. Aside from geography, why bridge? The country is a bridge because it is a bridge, collaboration of lots of things with respect to its culture, with its political relations, foreign political relations, and also external economic relations. First, look at culture. As cited from the Turkish Cultural Foundation, Turkish culture is unique in the world, influenced by cultures and civilizations from China to Vienna, and from Russian steppes to North Africa for over a millennia. Deep roots in the Middle East, Anatolia, and Balkans, cradle of many civilizations. The culture is a synthesis, a crossroad, bridging a long history of civilizations: Anatolia, Mediterranean, Europe, and Mesopotamia. Turkish coffee, Turkish tea, Turkish cuisine, all having roots from many diverse civilizations and cultures. Turkish music, classical Turkish, Sufi, pop. Classical Western music, like you see here, is performed in one of the ancient theaters. Operas, Sufi, not one, but variety. Women in traditional clothes, modern clothes, headscarves, in the fields, football fields, in business life, variety of looks for women. But I should stress that one of the things that I have told you before is that in the entire world, it was one of the first countries that provided women equal rights, political and socially. With the birth of modern Turkey in 1923, the country, with its rich and diverse culture, enjoyed the establishment of democracy and a secularism, which means separation of religion from the political life. The culture inherited equally from Eastern and Western culture. A synthesis of East and West still dominate modern Turkey with modern and secular trends. Turkey is still a secular country by constitution, the only secular country with Islam as the dominant religion in the Middle East. There are other countries in the world that have secularism with Islam. However, it's one of its kind in the region. This is why it is interesting and important in an Islam-dominated region. Foreign relations, perhaps more challenging for me to talk about, is foreign relations. Turkey here again is a crossroad in a very volatile region, surrounded by dynamics of different countries and cultures, groups and communities. Turkey's challenge is to keep its secular, democratic, and peaceful position inside, while at the same time act as a stabilizing power, also known as soft power, as our Prime Minister says, in the Middle East, and balance its relations with the key Western actors such as the United States. What are some of the key problems? Just on the top of my head, Palestinians and Israelis, Iran and Iraq being sympathetic to Assad regime, where Turkey is not in good terms with Assad regime because Turkey is on the side of the rebellious forces against Assad. Hundreds of thousands of Syrian refugees in Turkey, for example, right now is a very important time because of the camps, and the refugees are planned to go back to their homeland, if they want to, of course. Kurdish population living in Turkey, which is 18%, and we live peacefully together, trying to integrate the two populations to each other. But also there's a problem of the PKK, which is organization that aims to establish a separate part in Turkey as a Kurdistan, which is using force, and other problems such as Armenia and Cyprus issue. So following the collapse of Ottoman Empire, during the First World War and the Turkish War of Independence, Atatürk established the Republic of Turkey from the Ottoman ashes, and his motto, peace at home and peace in the world, explains the neutral foreign policy. Throughout the Cold War, Turkey followed a pro-Western, pro-American foreign policy and kept distance from its relations of a newly established Eastern countries, Iraq, Syria, and Egypt, that were inclined to socialism and were allying with Soviet Union. The close American ties, Turkish-American ties continued and reached probably its maximum in the 1980s with the pro-American prime minister, previous presidents, one of the previous presidents, Turgut Özal, was in power. President Özal supported the American policy towards Iraq in the First Gulf War in 90s. Since the Justice and Development Party, we call in Turkish Adalet ve Kalkınma Partisi, simply known as AKP, came to power in late 2002, AKP governments attempted to follow less problematic foreign policy towards its neighbors. This foreign policy, which is identified with our formal Minister of Foreign Affairs and current Prime Minister Ahmet Davutoğlu's book called Strategic Depth, which is a book about the Turkish geopolitics. He initiated the term zero problems with the neighbors foreign policy. It worked well until the beginning of 2011 with the Arab Spring. Turkey in the last decade had hoped to be a country with minimum problems in the region. However, now, zero problems policy was not possible and went on to being a country with many problems in the region. Turkey had been a long-time critical ally of the US and Europe. The country has been a member of NATO since 1952. The country has had increasingly vital role in the Middle East. Now I would like to look at the region in smaller pieces, like the very close neighbors like Syria, Iraq, Iran, Israel. First, look at Syria and Turkish relations. Historically, despite its long borders with Turkey, Syria and Turkey had never been close, in politically and also economically. During the Cold War period, while Syria is allied with Soviet Union and received Russian weapons for its defense, Turkey allied with US by becoming a member of NATO. One significant problem between the two countries was related to water, because there are two rivers, Tigris and Euphrates, that start from the Turkish lands, and they fall and they follow the Mesopotamia, and they are those two rivers provide water for Syria. So the control is over the Turkish lands of the flow of water. Another pressing problem is the Syrian support of terror organization, which we call PKK. PKK supports the establishment of an independent Kurdistan that will be carved out of Turkey and resort to violence for this cause. So this Kurdish aspiration led to a decade of conflict in the Turkish lands. It was until the Arab Spring and brutal battle with the Syrian opposition and Assad that the relationship between the two countries started to dissolve. Moreover, now many Syrian refugees sought home and security in Turkey by crossing the borders, and the Turkish, with the also assistance with the US and the European Union and NATO, provided the refugees homes in the borders by tents. So there are many dynamics issues within those two countries. Look at Turkey and Iran, another one of our neighbors. Turkey has had a long relationship between Iran, historical ties with Iran, particularly before the Iranian Revolution in 1979. Turkish-Iranian revolutions were very good during the time of Reza Pahlavi, because he was also aiming his land to westernize, as Atatürk did in the times. However, starting with the Islamic Revolution in 1979, Turkish-Iranian relations started to dissolve, deteriorate, since the Iranian government showed some attempts to export their revolution to Turkey. However, as a significant provider of oil and natural gas, Turkey continues to keep its neutral relations with Iran. Iran is a big provider of natural gas to Turkey. Turkey's energy supply is largely dependent on Iran. Turkey and Iraq, another very close neighbor. Throughout the Cold Period, while Iraq was ruled by Socialist Ba'ath Party that was supported by the Soviet Union, Turkey kept its strong alliance with the US. During Saddam's rule, Turkey and Iraq cooperated with each other vis-à-vis the PKK. However, after American intervention into Iraq in 2003, such cross-border operations were not possible. And Turkey was scared of a solution to Iraq's problem that would create an independent Kurdistan in the northern part of Iraq, which may eventually lead to an independent Kurdistan in Turkey. AKP governments followed a soft power policy towards Iraq and actually increased Turkish and Iraq economic relations with the northern part of Iraq, where an independent Kurdistan area was established. Is established, of course, still is. Such close economic relations with the Kurdish region of Iraq actually eased the tensions between Turkey and Iraq, and particularly the Kurds in Iraq. And as a result, now there is a harmonious relations. Another country that I would like to look at is Israel, because although it's not a neighbor to Turkey, Turkey and Israel has a long relations. The relations were formalized in March 1949, where Turkey was the first Muslim majority country to recognize State of Israel. Turkey and the Jewish community had long been allies. Turkey, long before World War II, has close ties with the Jews. For example, in World War II, when some of the scholars were forced to leave Germany, Turkey opened up its doors to the scholars, and many professors found place to do research and teach in many Turkish universities, which we still have the traces of that collaboration with Germany and Turkey, with Jewish community in Germany and Turkey. Moreover, Turkish diplomats in World War II have secretly helped the Jewish community by rescuing by train thousands of Jews from Europe from the concentration camps and carried them to Istanbul. So Turkey was always very careful with its relations with Israel until the end of 1980. In the majority of the Arab-Israel wars, the Turkish governments were on the side of the Palestinians. In 2003, with the help of the Madrid Conference and Oslo Accords, Turkey and Israeli relations reached its zenith point. Unfortunately, however, with the attack of Israel to Gaza Strip starting from 2008 and on, Turkish and Israeli relations deteriorated tremendously. Okay, now comes a part that I'm more comfortable with since I'm an economist, Turkey and external economic relations. I would like to give you a very brief information about that. Until the beginning of the millennium, 2000, Turkey has had a strong economic tie with the European Union. And European Union, still remains the largest trade partner of Turkey. Turkey is the 5th largest export market to EU and 7th biggest supplier of the EU, as well as a major source of foreign direct investment flow from Europe to Turkey. However, with the new members in the European Union, with 28 members, Turkey has to reconsider its trade relations to find new markets. And also, Turkey is again affected economically and likely to be affected economically because of European Union's transatlantic trade agreements, which is called TTIP, with the United States, which will provide some effect, probably some negative impact on the Turkish exports. Turkey, over the years, have discovered, or I should say maybe rediscovered, its role as a Muslim country, particularly after the 1980s, and that period is called Anatolian tigers. The name Anatolian tiger means that there are many business people in Anatolia that became entrepreneurs and made investments and started to make or produce exports for Middle East countries. Turkey had followed a more assertive and self-confident external economic relations since the 2000s. One reason is the customs union that is in effect between Turkey and the European Union for the industrial goods. So that enabled Turkey to integrate into European Union's production networks, particularly networks of automobile and clothing, and it caused a positive structural change in domestic economy. Turkey is a candidate country to the European Union since 1999. The relationship has many economic consequences as well as political considerations. The most pressing problems between Turkey and European Union, not only with respect to economics, but also politics, massive Syrian refugee crisis, fragile economic growth in Turkey, and authoritarian method of governance. And a new and clear roadmap is needed between Turkey and European Union to strengthen Turkey's role as a crossroad between the two continents, including Syrian crisis, visa and migration policy, Cyprus dispute, foreign policy discourse between the European Union and Turkey, PKK problem, Turkey and Armenia relations, Turkey and Israel, and many, many more. I could not tell more. So, what now? In the outside, there is Turkey's long-term relationship with the European Union. Also in the outside, there is dynamics in the Middle East. In the inside, Under the AKP rule for nearly 12 years, there has been a growing internal power struggle between secularist elites and conservative Muslims. Erdogan's presidency added more concerns, a little bit more concern, to the fear of theocratic government. One example was the demonstrations at Gezi Park in Taksim in Istanbul in 2013, where peaceful sit-ins and sit-in protests for redevelopment of an Istanbul park in Taksim transformed into a wide protest challenging Erdogan's regime, or policies, rather. Erdogan and AKP policies suggest that their policies have strengthened the democracy by allowing some religious practices to become more public, for example, allowing headscarves in the universities. I agree with that because I have many students with headscarves in my school, in my class. On the other hand, I have many girls with modern dresses, miniskirts, so I don't mind how they dress as long as one doesn't force the other to dress just like her. So Turkey, as a democratic country, secular country, is still an indispensable power for the Western world. With its modern economy, NATO's second largest army, and its strategic position, Turkey remains to be a critical power in the region. The policy should be that Turkey to continue its liberal democratization process at home and at the same time help peaceful relations with the rest of the world. Consistent with leader Atatürk's famous quote, "Peace at home and peace in the world." This is surely not a mission impossible, yet it requires a lot of work and reasoned thought on the Turkish side. Thank you for listening, and I hope you would have some questions that you want to be clarified with.
Thank you. All right, if you have questions, please raise your hand and wait for the microphone to come to you. We have a question right over here.
Thank you for coming today. Could you say something about the possibility of change of government and how that would affect American military bases in Turkey?
When you say change in government, meaning AKP, change? Oh. I don't think that will happen. There's no.
All right, sir, we have a question right over here.
Thank you once again for coming. Great presentation. You have a wonderful country. It's very beautiful. Recently, Turkey has responded to the European Union and said, we don't really care what you have to say about the Gulen Movement and things that have taken place. They have also issued an arrest warrant for Fethullah Gulen, who lives in the U.S.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit on that, and then from a political perspective, and then to bring you back into your comfort zone, to explain how that might affect economically Turkey's relationship with both the EU and the U.S., because it is straining the relationship.
Okay, I wish our government did not press that much on that Gulen Movement, because instead of talking with the U.S. officers about that, they should also concentrate on increasing Turkey's economic ties with the United States. So I know there are lots of Gulen, and I'm not familiar with any of them. I don't even know where they are, however, I mean in the United States. I know there are lots of it in former Soviet Union as well, and they provide good education as well. However, it is such a political issue. It's a really important issue, and it's about creating a security zone for my government, probably. They want it to be less powerful. But I don't really have so much information about that. You're welcome.
Yes, we have a question right here on the front row. Here comes the microphone to you.
Dr. Hoşgeldiniz.
Hoş bulduk.
In the 2 years that Caroline spent, when I was an air transport advisor to the Turkish Air Force, it seemed to us that the Turkish general staff and the Turkish military was very content as long as the internal politics of the country remained calm and
Right.
never deviated from what
Right.
Mustafa liked as far as a secular country. Does that condition still exist today?
That condition still exists. I know that, yes, yes.
Yes, Marvin, right back here.
Would you comment on the government's response last year? There was some criticism, and the government's response was to shut down Twitter and Facebook, and which, in a world perspective, seems kind of limited and foolish. And then there was a few months later, the Turkish Supreme Court overturned that ruling.
Yeah.
So there was a rather silly, limited response, and then there was a very admirable judicial response. Can you explain that balance?
Well, that is some kind of a confusion, probably. Facebook is so much used in Turkey, and it probably would be related to the Arab Spring that started with the extensive use of social media, and probably it was a scare somehow, and I don't know why. So they have closed down, they wanted to close down Facebook and Twitter. It wasn't a long time. I'm a user of Twitter and Facebook as well. People in Turkey found other ways to go into Facebook. So it was not something that was a reasonable thing to do, yeah. So now it's open and nothing is nobody is having, even our prime minister, even our president have Twitter accounts. They have their sayings through Twitter to the public. So it was, I think, because of a matter of confusion during that time.
Any other questions? Yes, we have one right back here.
Well, I'd also just like to thank you for your presentation too. And you used the phrase Turkey, a bridge between the Muslim world and Europe.
Right.
There are a lot of attitudes, though, in Europe that see or worry that Turkey works more like a tunnel. They worry about the promulgation of Islamic culture into mainland Europe, and I'm wondering what role this sort of tension you see or understand is playing in the sort of slow prospects for Turkey actually becoming a part of the European Union, where they have free movement, free integration between all their members. So if you can comment on that particular source of tension.
Meaning that Turkey is a tunnel carrying the Islamic so-called terrorists to the mainland Europe, or is that?
Just the culture. I mean, Islamic terrorism is something that everybody's worried about, but Europe has seen a lot of movement of Islamic culture, and they're very tense about it.
Right.
And I'm wondering if that tension has, you see it playing any role in slowing down Turkey's prospects for being the first Muslim majority country to enter the EU.
Yeah, it is a very important, it's a very, very important concern, both for the European side and for the Turkish side as well. The Turkish population is 7% Muslim, and but I should stress that it's a secular country, and about maybe 50% are really practicing and with the headscarves, and women maybe using Islamic way of dress. However, the other 50 is very much different. So, it's like a combination of cultures, combination of beliefs, and nobody in Turkey, for now, as far as I see, tries to force the other person to become more religious or to become something. But I know what your concern is, and it's a concern for the European Union, that's for sure. Turkey will be the first country to join European Union if it ever joins as a Muslim country. On the one side, it will bring European Union a different color. Also, another will be, it will provide maybe more stability in the region by becoming a part of a union. On the other hand, yes, it will bring probably different types of lifestyles to the European Union as well.
Yes, sir. Question right here. Wait for the microphone. It's coming at you.
I was just wondering what sect of Islam is predominant in Turkey, and what difference does that really make?
I'm not very, very knowledgeable about Islam, but Sunni is the sect of Islam in Turkey. But I really don't have any idea. There are also Alevis, about how many percent? Do you know, my Turkish friends? 10% Alevis, and maybe 90% Muslim is Sunni. Yeah.
In Iran is Shia, right?
Yeah, they are Shia.
Yes, we have a question right back there. Yes.
There's been some perception in our media that there's restriction of free speech going on right now with the current administration. Is that accurate, or could you comment on that?
Oh, you mean army?
No. There's been some restrictions on free speech, like in the media and the papers. And
That has been going on for many, many years. Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's not like a banning of free speech, but yes, when you talk about negatively about it is some type of a problem, restriction for probably the journalists and public officers. That's right.
Let's give
Unfortunately.
Sedef a great round of applause.